Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Please bear with me. I am like literally learning how to talk with these retainers in my mouth. I started Invisalign on Monday. So yeah, that's super exciting, but I'm having a hard time speaking. So bear with me here. I got Portia, we call her our little broken dog. Funny story. We ran into somebody last weekend that knew us from YouTube, and it was a girl, and she said, "Oh yeah, like I saw your broken dog." And it was like one of those things where you're like, I can only call my dog broken. I was like, it's okay if I call so and so that, but nobody else is allowed to do it. It was so funny because when she said it, I was like, oh. Okay, so I'm going to stop rambling and I'm just going to jump right into this. Today we are doing a Q&A video. I haven't done one of these, and I thought it would be a good way to maybe help people get to know me a little bit better, whether you've been here for a while or you are new here. Who knows? Maybe you'll learn something new about me. I asked people to ask me questions on my Instagram story. I did not expect to get so many responses. So obviously I'm not going to be able to answer every single one of these questions, but I'm going to pick some of the ones that I think we could find the most value in. Without further ado, let's get right into this Q&A. Very first question off the rip. Are you single and are you looking? So yes, I'm single. This is the longest I've been single in my adult life, which is crazy. I've always been in long-term relationships. My first boyfriend ever, dated him for 4 years. And then after him, I had another long-term boyfriend, and that led to Bobby. And then I had Myla. The boyfriend that I had after Myla was born. I did date him for quite a while, but that got very messy. Sorry, ignore the dog. It got very messy. It was very toxic. I learned a lot from it, but it was kind of traumatizing. And so I've been single ever since. So I've done a lot of healing. I've done a lot of work. And sure, I want to find my person, but am I actively looking? I can't really say yes because I am so focused on my career and my kid that I really don't take any extra time out to try to meet anybody. So, as nice as it would be for him to knock on my door or fall out of the sky, I don't think that's going to happen, but I have hope. I have hope that he'll just appear in front of me one day. So yes, I'm single, but no, I'm technically not looking. I want to take a super brief pause so that I can introduce today's video sponsor, our friends at BetterHelp. I'm so grateful for BetterHelp for supporting my page so that I can make this content happen for you guys. If you are familiar with my page, I'm sure you're familiar with BetterHelp, but if you are new here, hello, welcome. I'm happy to have you. Let me explain a little bit about BetterHelp, what it is and what it is designed to do. So BetterHelp is actually a therapy app that is designed to make therapy easier and more accessible to the general public, because in today's world, unfortunately, therapy is not the easiest thing for everyone to grab a hold of. And so BetterHelp is designed to do just that for people who struggle with therapy for many different reasons, whether it be financial issues, insurance issues, maybe you travel a lot, maybe you're a single mom. BetterHelp totally knocks down all of those barriers and allows anyone and everyone, no matter their life circumstances, to receive therapy and better their life, because that is what therapy is designed to do. And that's what it has done for so many, including myself. Therapy has saved my life. Now, BetterHelp is an app, and you download this app, you answer a couple simple questions, and they are going to utilize your responses to help find a therapist that fits you best. Here's one of my favorite parts about BetterHelp. I'll never stop talking about this. If your therapist isn't working for you, no problem. Try the next one. That scary commitment factor is totally gone, because if your therapist is not working for you, you can try another one. Another reason BetterHelp knocks a lot of that fear out of this is you get to choose how you want this therapy to look, right? If you are not comfortable with face-to-face Zoom calls, no worries, you can start with text messages. If you start to become more comfortable with your therapist, you can move on to phone calls. And then if you're ready after that, you can then move into Zoom calls. If you never get to that place and you just enjoy doing the text messaging, leave it that way. That is the beauty of it. You are in control. I have a lot of friends who work out of town. They are not in the same place for long. And so they are unable to commit to a therapist in one location because they're constantly traveling. True testimonials, real people that I know who have genuinely benefited from BetterHelp. So BetterHelp was kind enough to give us a 10% off. So the first time you try BetterHelp for your first month, BetterHelp is going to offer you 10% off. And so I have a link I have provided above. It's also below in the description box. Super easy to click. Also, if you are not quite ready yet, I still recommend hitting that link so that you can at least get all the details, learn about it, maybe download the app so that when that time comes and when you feel you're ready, it's more likely that you're going to actually go through with it. Also, if maybe it's not something that you need at the moment, but you might know somebody who could benefit from this, share the link with them. Help your family and your friends out. So with that, one more time, I want to thank our friends at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video, and let's just hop right back in, okay? Bullied by this guy. I really want to be aggressive towards him, but I don't want to seem rude. So I don't think the issue would be if you are being rude or not by being aggressive to this person. I think I would take a step back if I were you and look at, is this person worth me putting energy into? Our energy is so much more important than I think people realize. If you talk to people who have lots and lots of money, millionaires, people that are very successful, so many of them will tell you that one of the most important things that got them to where they are today and what they paid the most attention to, what they're the most conscious about on a daily basis is their energy, who they're giving their energy to, how much of their energy they're giving out. You have to be so careful with who you give your energy to because we only have so much in a day, right? Or in a season. And so when we are like getting road rage while we're driving, or we're getting irritated at the store clerk, like whatever store clerk, whatever the case may be, it's like it drains us more than we realize. And then it's like 4 p.m. and we're ready for bed. We're absolutely exhausted. And so this is one of those things. Like if this person is being rude to you, they don't deserve any of your energy. So I understand the whole wanting to get back and get even. But in my opinion, walking away and not being willing to put your energy into somebody who's unkind to you would be the best way to go, in my personal opinion. So I wouldn't worry about being rude back or being aggressive back. I would just preserve your energy because it does not sound like this is somebody that deserves your energy. So I hope that helps you there, babe. What were you addicted to? If it was free, it was for me. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, it depends on what point in my addiction. Ultimately, it was opiates. Opiates are what destroyed my life. Opiates are what I was addicted to and what I would seek out the most. But when my addiction first started, it started with benzos. So that was kind of like the catalyst, mixing that with alcohol. Horribly dangerous combination. And then, yeah, that eventually led into opiates, but opiates were definitely the main one. But, as I would continue on with my addiction, or if I was ever unwell physically, I was usually willing to accept anything that was going to make me feel better. And that's a common theme with a lot of addicts when they reach that point where they're physically dependent to substance and they're sick without it. Although you have, your quote unquote DOC, your choice, a lot of times addicts will take anything that they can get, especially if they're in a position where they're physically ill. And usually that's when your disease progresses to a pretty intense place. So I have definitely found myself there as well, where I was willing to accept anything. But yeah, benzos and opiates. Hi, I love your videos. How do you form such a close bond with Myla? Well, it's funny because we went through a lot whenever I got sober, because before I had gotten sober this last time around, I was, in and out of Myla's life a couple times, trying to get sober and then relapsing and so on and so forth. So for a little while there, I was in California. She was at home in Pittsburgh, and she was young enough that if you ask her, do you remember anything? She'll say, I don't really remember anything. She doesn't remember any details, but what she will tell you is she remembers me being gone. So she doesn't remember any little details, but she remembers being gone. And I'm sure that leads to feelings like confusion, being afraid. Where is my mom? Is she coming home? Why isn't she here? Those sorts of fears and feelings. And so when I came back and re-entered her life, it uprooted her life a little bit, right? It changed her routine. It changed her schedule. And so in the very beginning, when I was newly sober and just like really getting back into the swing of being a mom again, which I really didn't have the privilege to do until about a year sober, which made sense. So within that first year, I hung out with her a lot. I saw her all the time. but I didn't like regain custody, move her back in with me until about a year sober, which I feel was a good timeline. But she was resentful. She was resentful at me. She was resentful at me for leaving. And it's funny because she was little. I mean, 4 years old, and she was resentful at me. And so I had a lot of work to do. I had a lot of making up to do. And I knew that. And I knew the best way I could do that was living amends. I could talk to her till I'm blue in the face. I could sell her every dream in the world, tell her all the things I plan to do and that I've done. But nothing quite does it the way just being a good mom, living day to day, taking good care of her, showing her love, and proving to her that never again, right? Proving to her that I'm not going anywhere ever again. And so a few years ago, we entered this journey where we were rebuilding our relationship, and then COVID hit and the world shut down. And as much as this sucked for so many people, one benefit, I will always credit COVID for this. One benefit was that Myla and I were truly stuck at home together, just the two of us, for quite some time. And on top of that, I was homeschooling her. So on top of it just being the two of us all the time at home, I was also her teacher. And so, naturally, I can't even tell you, like, our relationship flourished at this time. We just really made crazy amount of progress, crazy hurdles, truly. I mean, that's all I can really say. So I'd say I worked really hard at rebuilding our relationship because of my addiction and because of what I had put Myla through. But then with just natural circumstances, things that happened around us that were out of our control, those things put us in a situation where we had the opportunity to bond and forgiveness and just love and grace. And we had that opportunity, and we both took a hold of it. Probably a little more subconscious for Myla, but consciously for me. And ever since then, it's done nothing but remain that way and continue to grow in that way. If you are asking because you want to maintain or encourage a relationship of your own, whether it be a parent with a child or a boyfriend and a girlfriend or a mother and a daughter, whatever that may be, my recommendation to you based on my experiences would be just living in a way that you want this relationship to go, showing the person every single day that this is who you are and this is who you're going to be met with. This is the kind of person I am. Here's what I can offer you. And this is what I want to see out of our relationship in action form. Because when there's the form of action, there's the security. The security of it all is locked in. There's no, well, what if you don't keep your promise? This is a risk for me because I don't know if you're going to keep your promise or if you're going to hold your word or hold your end of the bargain. But living amends and just being who you want people to see that you are on a daily basis. Sure, it might take a little bit more time. It may require a bit more patience. But in my opinion, there's no better way to build a relationship up, right? You're showing people, you're showing that person who you are. That's what I did with Myla. I just was the mother that I wanted to be and that I knew I was deep down. The mother that I knew I was, the mother that I knew I could be. I just became her. I became her every single day. I acted as such, and eventually I became her. And Myla was there to witness and be a part of that entire journey, that entire transformation into me being who I am today. And I'm nowhere near perfect, right? I still have a lot of work to do. There's pieces of me and things that I still want to heal and make better. And, I'm always growing. I'm always learning. You know what I mean? So I hope that answers that one. I barely remembered what the question was. Okay, the bond. Yeah. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. This question was asked so many times. So many times, you guys. I'm going to answer it one time and one time only. Okay? So, a couple things here. Are you dating Bobby, or are you dating or seeing anyone else? No and no. I am not dating Bobby, and I'm not dating anybody else either. I haven't dated anybody in a really long time. So there's the answer to that question. Now, in this regard, there were a whole bunch of other questions that I want to just answer now because we're on the topic of it. But there were a lot of people asking, will you ever get back together with Bobby? At the end of the day, obviously, I don't have the solidified answer to that question because I can't see the future. But what I can tell you from my current circumstances and how I currently feel physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the answer would be no. And I only say that because we are on completely different wavelengths. Like, we're in different places in our lives. We want different things. Bobby just lives a completely different lifestyle than me. Not one is better than the other. They're just different from one another. We are very different people. We live very different lives. We have very different sorts of friend groups. Like, there are just so many differences. And on top of that, you know, there's always been the fear for me of, I could never imagine like trying again with him and getting back together with him, and like Myla's parents being together again, and Myla knowing that, and then God forbid it didn't work out. I could never, ever, ever, like, the risk, I just can't even handle it. I couldn't even handle what that would do to Myla. And so that's why we don't play around, and just, we keep things the way they are. We co-parent well. Whenever we're around each other, we laugh a lot. Sure, we're borderline flirty with one another. We have really good times together. It makes Myla happy to see it. And so with all that being said, we're good. We're staying put. Things are working the way they are. We are in very different places. We want different things. We are headed in different directions, and it just wouldn't work. Just to answer that whole realm of questions regarding the father of my child. How are you and Bobby getting along co-parenting? Sending love from the UK. Thank you, girlfriend. Sending love from the States. Just to kind of go off of this, because it's on the same topic. I mean, we're okay. Here's what I'm going to say. We are very, very fortunate to have Bobby's mom, who is so incredibly involved. Her and I are really, really close. We talk on the phone every day, usually anywhere from like an hour to 3 hours. When she drops Myla off here on my days with her, like, she'll stay and we'll talk for an hour. Her and I are very, very close, and we always have been. So naturally, because we are two women, we tend to talk more in regards to like Myla's schedule, what's going on in her life, what's coming up, where's the next football game, when is picture day, make sure she wears this, make sure she has this drink. All of those things that like moms are usually in control of. Not that dads can't be. I know a lot of dads that stay at home and do all this stuff, but Bobby's mom and I tend to communicate the most, just because it works for us. It's just the way it works. So the other benefit, and that's a luxury and a privilege. I'm well aware of that, because if Bobby's mom wasn't around and it was just strictly up to Bobby and I, things would not be this sweet. I promise you that. So I'm well aware of that. I'm very grateful for Bobby's mom, but her and I typically co-parent the most. And so she'll kind of update Bobby on all of the things. Anything I tell her, she'll then go and tell Bobby. So everybody's in the loop. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody's a part of like the updates and what's happening in Myla's life. Everybody's aware, but generally I communicate the most with his mother. And as a result of this, we don't ever fight, because there's very minimal communication. When it comes down to things that are a bit more serious, that only Bobby and I can decide, whether that be something to do with school, or maybe to do with her custody schedule, our custody agreement, that all has to come from Bobby and I, because we are the parents and we're the only two that can make those decisions. Other than that, smaller things, sporting events, play dates, activities, birthday parties, things of that nature, I talk with Bobby's mom. In case I did not make it clear enough, Bobby's mom is the reason why we are able to get along so well 99% of the time. I get how hard this shit is. So please don't look at us and think like shit is so sweet and they're such the perfect co-parents. No, because we have a Mimi behind the scenes that makes it all happen. The Mimi is the one that makes it all work. So Mimi gets all the credit, in my opinion. All the credit. Sorry, I really needed to brush my hair. I'm not loving it, you guys. I'm regretting cutting it. So, way to go, Ab. Okay, so my birthday's coming up too, you guys. So, I don't know what we're going to do with this hair. What do you guys think? Put in the comments what you think I should do with my hair. By the way, make sure you guys are following me on Instagram and TikTok. Okay? I post some other neat stuff that you guys don't see here on YouTube over on TikTok. So make sure you follow me on TikTok. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, mainly because I'm constantly posting Instagram stories. So it's a good way to keep up with like the day-to-day stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. In life, when you have a dark day, how do you conquer and overcome that feeling? Okay, so when I have days like this, the biggest thing that's been helping me recently is reminding myself that it's just a day. Reminding myself that tomorrow is not going to be this way. In 2 days, it's not going to be this way. Next week, it's not going to be this way. It's just a bad day, right? So I kind of have to talk myself through it initially. It's not a bad life. It's not a bad week. It's not a bad season. I'm simply having a rough day. And when you're having a rough day, I think one of the most important things is to give yourself grace, right? So do something that makes you happy. If there's a certain drink that you like to go get at Starbucks or some coffee shop and you don't do it often, maybe that's the day that you deserve to go treat yourself. Maybe that's the day that you deserve to glue some lashes on. That's the day that you need to give yourself more grace. Talk yourself through it and remind yourself that it's just a day. It's not a bad week. It's not a bad month. And push through it to the best of your ability. Because every time you get through a hard day and you find a way to make that hard day a little bit easier, you're gaining another tool to put in your toolbox to then help avoid days like that in the future. Or at least if you feel them coming on, you have tools and you have ways to combat it and to push it off and to not allow it to take over your day. So a lot of it is like processing and working through it mentally. Just remember that it's just a day. Remember that you're not going to feel this way. Do something kind for yourself. Remember those tools. Remember what worked for you. Remember what took the angst and the, whatever unhappy or negative feelings that are going on in your head. Remember what helped it, what took it away. Is there somebody you can call? Is there a friend, a family member, a sponsor, a support person who's available to call and you can chat with them? And then remember those tools. Remember what worked for you and utilize them in your life in the future. And it'll help avoid those dark days. And listen, the other thing to remember too is we all have them. We all have those days. We're all going to have those days. It doesn't matter who you are. It happens. Listen to good music, get yourself a good playlist, call a trustworthy person, take a bubble bath, go buy your favorite coffee, give yourself grace. Remember that it's only for the day. Tomorrow, you're going to go back to slaying. And we all have days like that. Maybe that's the day you put self-tanner on, right? Maybe that's the day you put self-tanner on. Do it up, girl. I hope that helped. There were truly hundreds and I could go on, and I will go on and on. So I have to stop myself. Okay, this person asked, how tall are you? 5'5". When I talk about this over on other platforms, people think I'm lying. I'm not sure why. I am literally 5'5", barely. I'm 5'4", but my license says 5'5". People think I look tall when I appear online, and then they see me in person, and everybody's first reaction is always, I don't know what else to tell you guys. If you don't believe me, I apologize, but that is my height. We can measure me if you guys don't believe me. How old were you when you were pregnant and how did you react? I got pregnant at 19 and I lost my mind. I was bawling my eyes out. I was like, there's no way I can do this. I'm too young. I'm terrified. I was so scared. I was absolutely horrified. Like truly was. That was scary. How did you come up with Myla's name? That's a fun question. So I wanted Myla and Bobby wanted Maya, and neither one of us would give in. I've always loved the name Myla. Bobby really liked the name Maya. The reason why I wasn't on board with Maya is because Myla has a first cousin named Maya on Bobby's side of the family. So I would say to Bobby, like, why would you want to name her after her first cousin? We're not doing that. But he didn't like Myla. So one day I'm sitting in beauty school. I'm bitching about this to one of my girlfriends, and she's like, combine them. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, combine Myla and Maya. So we did, and we got Myla out of it. And so I'll never forget, I texted Bobby at beauty school and I said, hey, what about this compromise? Combine Myla and Maya and make Myla. And Bobby was like, I love it. So that's how we came up with her name. I came up with her middle name, Myla Monroe. That was my choice, and Bobby just agreed with it. So that's our little Myla Monroe and how she got her name. Okay, I knew I was going to talk long. I was afraid that was going to end up being a long video, but I hope that you guys at least got to know me a little bit more. If you guys enjoyed this, please let me know. If you have more questions and you want to do another Q&A, let me know. Drop any other questions, any comments. Do we have more in common than you realize? Did you learn something new that you didn't know about me? Let me know in the comments. If you're new here, I'm so glad to have you. Thank you for watching the video. And if you're just coming back, thank you, fam. I'm so incredibly grateful to have you here. I really appreciate your guys' support. and you guys watching my content and interacting with me. I love you guys. I so appreciate this community we have built, and I hope you enjoyed today's Q&A. So go kill the rest of the week. Have a blast. Have a wicked weekend, and I'll talk to you guys very soon, right? Okay. Bye. Love you.